another interview with El Vocero Hispano. We know that Grand Rapids has been having a housing crisis for the past few years, probably even mostly during the pandemic. Just recently, last week, the mayor of the city of Grand Rapids, Rosalind Bliss, has announced, or she did her State of the City speech, where she announced that we needed at least 14,000 houses by 2027. Those are still 4 years from now, so there's still some time there. And the real question is, what do we do in the meantime? What do we do with the people that are facing this housing crisis at this moment? To speak about this, I have AYA Youth Collective, which is an organization that focuses on housing and other resources for the youth. Thank you so much for both of your guys' time. This is super exciting to have you guys here.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, absolutely.
So I have Tony here, or Anthony Ochoa, and Kendra Avila. They're both from AYA Collective. And yeah, I just wanted to dive in and just start by asking, what does AYA stand for?
Yeah, so AYA means as you are, and it's really focusing on the fact that youth will come to us from all different walks of life, they can come from Muskegon, they can come from Ada, and for some reason or another, they're experiencing housing instability, and we want them to know that they can come to us no matter what stage of life they're in or what they're experiencing, however they identify, and then they can start receiving aid from us.
Yeah. So you mentioned the housing part. You guys kind of house a certain age group. Could you kind of talk about like what that age group is and like what the requisites would be for them to kind of join you guys?
So I'm the housing manager for our supportive housing program, and one of the things that we do is we provide housing, but we also provide supports. So mentors live in our duplex style houses. They make a commitment to 2 years. So we focus on providing supportive housing, but also we believe that relationship is incredibly important, not only to long-term stability, but also just everyone is interconnected. So the focus of our housing program, I think, mingles supportive housing, but also relationships.
Okay. And then kind of like the age group, I know that there's a specific one, but do you guys accept over or under?
We accept young people between the ages of 18 and 24 to our supportive housing program. And we do provide housing supports and other services in our drop-in center for anyone who's under the age of 18. Our supportive housing program is only able to accept anyone over the age of 18.
Okay. And then since we obviously reached the Hispanic community, I wanted to speak about the population, if you guys are able to speak about that. Kind of like, are you guys seeing the Hispanic population come to you guys for help or resources, or other communities that are kind of lacking in knowing that this is out here?
Yeah, so currently we are only seeing about 10% of our youth identify as Hispanic, and that is an area that one thing that we try to do at AYA is constantly seeing the community around us and seeing what needs there are. And so we're looking at the numbers, and we know that every single night there's over 200 youth that are sleeping outside or in emergency shelters. And when we see that only 10% are identifying as Hispanic, we're asking ourselves, like, are there more out there? Are there youth out there that aren't receiving our services? And we think about the barriers that could be in place. And one we acknowledge is that we want to make sure we have more of our resources are accessible in Spanish. So whether that means logging into our website and being able to click translate and see everything in Spanish, or calling our phone and being able to speak to a Spanish-speaking youth advocate. That is something that we don't have now, but we want to start enabling in the next couple of months, because we see an area of need and we want to grow it, and we want to make sure that there's no barriers to receive those resources.
Yeah.
And another piece of that too is connecting with other organizations in our community that specifically serve the Hispanic population. Yeah. I think that for sure there are youth in our community who are experiencing housing instability. It's important to acknowledge that youth homelessness is a hidden population. They're not a protected demographic. There's, like, if you're a single person over the age of 18, you enter the system just as anyone else would, but the needs are very, very unique for young people who, not just 18 and over, but 14 to 24. That's such a pivotal age. So just acknowledging too that there are people in our community experiencing instability who may not have properly entered like the calling 211 for an example, but they may need resources, they may need help navigating, and they need it from a youth perspective, which research shows that at this age, relationships is the center of where young people will want to connect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was kind of like my next question is, I'm not sure if there's like confidentiality laws or whatever, that go in between this, but is there like a common reason or something super common that you guys see from, regardless of what their backgrounds are, of why they're coming to you guys? Like maybe a relationship or discrimination or like whatever the case may be?
All of it.
Yeah.
Any reason you can imagine, it's probably been a reason why youth has come through our doors. It could be as simple as simple that we would see in Hollywood or media where it's a rough upbringing and youth are fleeing a domestic violent situation, and so they're coming to us as a runaway, if you will, or they could see their housing situation within their family. They see the struggles that their parents are trying to provide for them and their siblings, but they say, I'm going to try to strike it out on my own, so there's more food to go around, more money to go around for my siblings. I'm going to self-select and leave my home and try to make it on my own. But for some reason or another, they just for some reason or another, they just can't quite hit all the areas that they're trying to succeed in, so they come to us for that added support.
Yeah, especially at a young age. I mean, I think it's difficult for us to just start regardless of what age we are. So it's, for them to do that effort.
I think that there's a stigma attached to housing instability and homelessness. Mm-hmm. And it's much more common than any one of us would ever expect. And like Tony was sharing, like just the reasons why, like we have young people who come from homes where they had stable housing growing up, but the environment wasn't safe emotionally, or they may have been asked to leave by a family member or parents because of how they identify as within the LGBTQ plus community. Mm-hmm. I think it's one of the things that it's most important to dispel is that stigma of why a person is experiencing housing instability. It's often because they don't have the supports that they need in their community, like in their family, or quite honestly, how they identify sometimes as well.
Yeah, those are good points. We also mentioned about that you guys kind of work, I'm not sure if the correct word is like with partners, but with Bethany Christian Services, and kind of like if you could speak about like the refugee situation too. Yeah.
So AYA believes that we are an organization that wants to focus specifically on youth, but we don't think that we are going to be able to do it on our own. Mm-hmm. Community connections are incredibly important, from the parents who come into our drop-in center who need support to the youth who are coming for an example, a connection from Bethany Christian Services, a referral for someone who's 18 who may have been an unaccompanied minor. We've gotten referrals from them. We've gotten referrals from Covenant House as well. And so a part of our work is also being involved in the community. And a part of that is like through relationships and connections through staff as well.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, relationships are huge. I mean, we would say it's the foundation that our community, our organization is based on. So we have a central space that youth can come in. It's through our relationships we build trust, and then we invite these other organizations to come in that maybe youth would be wary of, or they would keep it at arm's length. But because we kind of become the mediators and the connecting points for a lot of these youth to these available resources, we're able to have a place of trust. And it really is because of this, our AYA stance, our As You Are, that youth come in, no matter how they identify, how they dress, their gender expression, what substances they may or may not be using, like they know that they can come into our space and we will see the humanity in them and see that they have dignity and worth, and that they can start on this journey towards housing stability.
Yeah, and maybe that's what they're lacking of at home, which is why they're coming to you guys. And if they're being there and they're actually, trying to make it out and figuring their way out, I think you guys are just doing a great job with, giving them that extra push that they need, or that something that they were missing out on. Yeah.
you.
Other than the housing, or we could speak about the housing, like what comes with the housing. So I kind of saw on your website that there's like the laundry and all that extra stuff.
Yeah. So I think our housing program is pretty comprehensive. We have 9 homes across West Michigan, and each of our homes are duplex style. And each we work with house mentors who are people often who have had lived experience themselves. I got to do a move-in today, actually, and we have a full program where a young person will enter our program. They'll sign a lease, so when they move out, they'll have a rental record. They receive, all of our homes have like laundry. They have like their own bedroom. Their bedrooms have locks on the doors, and so we're able to give them a key to the house, but a key to the room as well, so that they can feel that ownership and safety and having a place that's like theirs.
Yeah.
And I think another benefit is all of our youth, they're duplex style homes, so the youth will have roommates. And that's another layer, I think, of just learning how to live with other people is really important. But they don't have to do it by themselves. They have mentors who are on site, so if they have any questions, if they need any supports, the mentors will be there. They have house dinners every week.
Okay.
And they're able to learn about the other resources that are available in our community. And again, that's another layer of connection. So they may enter our drop-in space, and then as they move into our supportive housing program, they're able to stabilize and become like work on goals and like think about what they would like to do in their future.
Yeah, I think those are that's kind of forming like letting them socialize with other people that probably relate to them and just making them feel more comfortable, which is, I think, important.
Yeah.
One of our AYA directors likes to talk about everything we learned between the ages of 14 and 24, everything of how to mature and build relationships, whether you're in high school and middle school, college, like these are pivotal years socially, but then everything to like personal hygiene and how to balance a checkbook and how to maintain a driver's license or look up health insurance information. All of those, most of us learned between those ages, and a lot of us had supportive family or supportive friends at home to help teach us. So for a lot of these youth experiencing housing instability, they don't necessarily have that. And so AYA can step in with our youth advocates in our drop-in center or our housing advocates in our housing program. They can walk alongside the youth and provide those important pieces as they mature into adulthood.
Yeah, that's interesting. That was one of my other questions too. Like what other resources you guys basically provide? Because I mean, housing is something great and big, but having them there, it's also what you were mentioning. It's just giving them resources or additional resources like for their education, financial, employment, all of that stuff. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah, our drop-in center, it's very youth directed, not only like the physical layout and even the colors of the wall, but who's coming into our space. And so if the youth say, hey, I want to get a driver's license, or hey, I want to make sure I'm interviewing well and have a solid resume, we will invite community partners in. So one example is that I think it's our second or third successful driver's training cohort, we like to say. People signed up, they're like, I want to learn how to drive a car, and so we help them in that process.
Okay.
And again, kind of one step towards greater independence and stability as they learn to drive a car so they can maintain their job, so they can maintain their house, and maintain their,
And I know we've talked about relationship over and over and over again, but I think that is like the foundation.
Yeah.
Young people in West Michigan, there's a lot of resources. That's not the issue. The navigating those resources and finding where it's safe and being connected with someone who can like basically just show you the ropes. That can be your roommate, that can be your mentor, that can be someone in the drop-in center who's an advocate. So building those connections and building relationship, I think, like create the pathway to the resources that are available in our community, but sometimes youth don't even know about them.
Yeah. Those are all great things. I am definitely enjoying learning more about you guys because it's something that, like me personally, I didn't know this kind of existed. So just pushing that word out that if somebody's facing whatever it may be at home, that they're not feeling safe or whatever, then there's this organization.
Yeah, that's, I mean, both ways. That's why we're so grateful that El Vocero reached out, because you being a trusted voice in the West Michigan community, like, you can now share that we're here, that we have all these resources that we want youth to be able to access.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I also wanted to mention something that recently happened legislative-wise. So the ELCRA bill is the Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act, which basically means you can't discriminate against the LGBTQ community, whether it be for employment, housing, education, or other purposes. So I just wanted to see from your guys' perspective, or the organizations, of how does ELCRA kind of impact you guys in that way?
Yeah, so as a community, we don't discriminate when it comes to our housing, but now that these fundamental rights are now protected by law or expanded by the current bill, we celebrate, and we are now more armed and ready to kind of go to bat for these youth, if you will, because part of our supportive housing isn't just housing youth in our 9 AYA homes, or finding them housing and partnering organizations that also provide these resources, but also it could be as simple as calling around and known landlords or known apartment complexes, privately owned apartment complexes, and being able to call on youth's behalf of, say, what kind of openings, and walking alongside youth as they apply to live in these apartments. So because of the protected civil rights with the amendments to the ELCRA bill, we can now even more fully advocate on that behalf, on behalf of our LGBTQ youth.
Yeah, I would say personally, and within the organization that we have, it's great that the ELCRA bill has passed or expanded. For me personally, as a person who has experienced discrimination, and for a variety of different, sorry, I'm going off.
It's okay.
Can I start over?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was trying to say something profound. AYA, I think, believes in working internally within our organization to provide youth the best support, but we also know that we can't do it alone. And what that means is that advocating at the community level, at the state level, is important as well.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to hear that this bill has passed.
Yeah, for sure. I know that it's, like I mentioned before the interview, it's something that I feel everybody shouldn't be doing, like discriminating against this community, but now it's official, so
Yeah.
That's right.
yeah, so there's more
Accountability.
yeah. So is there anything else that you guys want to kind of let us know, let the community know of the organization itself?
Yeah, one cool thing, so us alongside several other organizations, we're helping enable the Youth Action Board, which is youth-led and youth-run self-advocates. So many youth with lived experiences of housing instability and homelessness have banded together, and they formed this action board, if you will, and they are self-advocating, and they just recently took a trip to Lansing and met with lawmakers, and said one of their big phrases is "we exist."
Okay.
And it's really emphasizing that it is a hidden population, it's a hidden crisis for many of the youth, because although people are aware of people experiencing homelessness, we might not realize how much is out there, is how many youth and minors are experiencing it individually, not just as families, but as individuals. And so this group of self-advocates is pretty rad.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's something super interesting I didn't know, but it's good that they're meeting lawmakers and kind of, being that extra push to maybe make a change here.
I'm really glad that you mentioned that, Tony. It's, the young people in our community at AYA, again, as you are, they also embody leadership as well. The youth in our drop-in space are not like just pitiful, like coming in, like they are leaders. They deserve dignity and respect, and like Tony said, they're going to the state advocating for themselves as well.
Yeah. One last thing before I end this interview. That's super interesting. Volunteering and donors. Do you guys need some of that, or how can we help volunteer?
Yes, any and all. We currently have a campaign to increase our monthly donors. So if you want to go to ayayouth.org and click on the Donate Now button, we're seeking monthly donors. And as part of our Join the Collective campaign, it's acknowledging that as a community, we have this shared belief system that we want to see youth receiving resources and housing and have stable and healthy relationships. So as a community, we're dedicating to banding together and supporting AYA monthly. And there's all these like fun perks that come with being a monthly donor.
Okay.
But also, we accept one-time gifts as well, financial gifts, but also many and all in-kind donations. So donation of goods, whether it's backpacks, coats, food. One great thing about our drop-in center is that when youth come, not only can they eat a hot meal, take a shower, do some laundry, but they can also fill out a list of any items they might not need, any items they do need.
Okay.
And it can be backpack, it can be hiking boots, it can be t-shirts, and these are all items that have been donated by the community. And so, for example, if someone were to donate a car full of backpacks, that can be dispersed directly to youth that need it, and immediately, quite frankly. We accept food donations. So one awesome thing is that because we do provide a hot meal every day that we're open, there's a sign-up sheet online that people can sign up and say, I'm going to bring soup this Tuesday. And then we serve that directly to the youth. Similarly, you can volunteer and be the one serving the soup. And so we have a couple of jobs that are available for volunteers to do in our drop-in center while we're open. And then lastly, just telling people, come take a tour of our space, tell all of your friends and family, so that people know that these resources are here, because that's our primary goal, is that people know we're here, that youth can receive our stuff. And then secondary, our goal is to let people know we're here so that they can support us, so that they can enable youth alongside us and join us in the work.
And one last thing I wanted to mention is, are there any events going on or something upcoming?
Yes, so we have, it's the most fun, most incredible annual event that we have every year, and it's called our Coming Home celebration. And it's a way that we celebrate youth and the housing stability that they are working towards. And we actually have one coming up this next month, April 27, at the Goey Center. We only have dinner tickets available, so we're already sold out for our lunch program, but we have a dinner program. You can purchase a ticket. You can learn about the work that AYA is doing. You can. There's a silent auction. There's a raffle. There's free drinks. There's food, and you can come hear from youth themselves about their journey and then how they reached housing stability. And so, we invite our community to come join us April 27th.
Okay. Yeah, sounds great. I might be there. There's free food and free drinks.
Well, with the ticket purchase. With the ticket purchase, there is an open bar.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Those are interesting, and I like the food thing. Maybe I might do it.
Please do.
I like to cook.
Yes. Yep.
Well, like you mentioned, I do have, if we can put the website on the screen, which is ayayouth.org. The phone number is 616-406-3945. They're also on Facebook, which is AYA Youth Collective, and email info@ayayouth.org. Like they mentioned, you can just feel free to speak up, seek help. They are here to help you, and I know that you guys have been doing a great job. There's going to be even more coming forward. I can just see it and feel it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. For more interviews in English and Spanish, you can visit elvocerous.com, our YouTube page at El Vocero Hispano TV, and our Facebook page, El Vocero Hispano.